Hello, everybody. Man, it is so good to be back in Mayberry. I have been traveling all over the place in the last few months. It's good to see you, or weeks, hadn't been months, weeks. It's good to be back here live with you on a Monday night to get the podcast going. It's fun to see everybody in the chat room. We got 38 folks in there right now. I hope everybody enjoyed the episodes the last couple of weeks while I was traveling around the country. I was in Indiana, then I was in California, and then I was in North Carolina. And tomorrow I got to go back to work. So I hope everybody has enjoyed the shows that we've done so far live, that weren't live. They were premieres. So I pre-recorded a few episodes for you, a couple of episodes to get the premieres ready to go. So that they would come out on Monday night, so you'd still be able to come together on Monday nights and enjoy each other's company. And I know it worked for the folks here on live.Two Chairs No Waiting. They're in this chat room you're seeing right over here. If you'd like to be a part of that, head over to live.twochairsnowaiting.com, and you can join these fine folks that are in our chat room talking and visiting with one another. And so if you're over on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, we definitely invite you to come over to live.twochairsnowaiting.com and join us. Join us. Have the fun here. Let's see. I can't even read everything. I did. I went to Hollywood. My little boys, Ran and Dan, said Floyd went to Hollywood. I did. I went to Hollywood. And that's what we're actually going to do tonight. I was trying to put together enough to be able to do a report from Mayberry Days, but we'll do that in the coming weeks here because I just did not have time. I got back from Mayberry Days last night. Mayberry Days 2021 is a quick report for some of you guys that may not have been there. I just really want to thank everybody that was there and able to just be a part of the events. It was so much fun. The tribute artists did a great job. I really appreciate all of them for just stepping up and doing the things that they do to make people smile and have a great time. I just cannot thank them enough because you guys may not realize this, but those guys that are the tribute artists, they show up at Mayberry Days and they work beginning. A lot of them start on Thursday. Some of them don't start till Friday, but they start and they work for nothing. Matter of fact, it costs them money to come to Mayberry Days because they actually, they go to the events, they travel there, they get hotels, all that kind of thing. And they're there and they entertain us, all of those tribute artists. And I'm not counting Floyd. That's me. I'm talking about all the other guys and gals that travel to Mount Airy each year for Mayberry Days to just bring a smile to everybody's face. Now, I'll talk about that a little bit more next time when we do the episode talking about the Mayberry Days event and doing a report. But I just really do appreciate them, guys. They work so hard, and they do it because they love the Andy Griffith Show, and they love making people smile and being friends. Now, that being said, all of them who were able to be in the Mayberry Men movie, none of that would have happened to them if they were not doing the tribute artist work that they do, and being at Mayberry Days and being seen. So several guys were able to do that. Some of them, because of COVID, weren't able to make it that probably would have been able to, but anyways, there's just a lot of amazing things that these guys are able to do. Lydia, we'll talk about Lydia too. We'll wait, and I might mention that tonight. She got the Mayberry Friendship Award. Everybody in our chat room, make sure you recognize Lydia. She received the Mayberry Friendship Award this year from the fans of the Andy Griffith, or members of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. And it goes every year to somebody who just really exhibits the spirit of friendship and reaches out as a fan of the Andy Griffith Show to others and just really exudes that. And Lydia is definitely deserving of that award. So congratulations to Lydia. Let's see. I'm trying to follow the chat room as we're talking here. COVID is the devil. Amen. We got to get rid of that. But Mayberry Days this year actually went really well. I thought things went well, and hopefully nobody will become ill or anything. But I think everybody tried. I know I was going around. I didn't have a mask on because I've had my shots. I've done this, but I was going around. I had a bottle of hand sanitizer in my pocket. So about every chance I had, I was using hand sanitizer because I didn't want to be transmitting anything from person to person. Because I was, people were shaking hands. They wanted pictures made with Floyd and all this stuff. The one thing that we do have a little bit of trouble with at Mayberry Days is everybody can't find us. I had a guy tell me Saturday morning at the parade, "Where have you been? I hadn't seen you in a couple of years." I was like, "I've been here." "Well, I hadn't seen you." I was like, I haven't missed Mayberry Days. This was my 28th Mayberry Days this year in a row. So I haven't missed. So I don't know what he was talking about, but basically people can't find us because we're working and doing stuff. We're hosting events. We're running whistling contests, pie eating contests. This year, because of my background doing this kind of stuff with sound and audio, they needed help running the sound system for Professor Brower's class. And so Floyd, if you were there at Professor Brower's class where he interviewed Joy Ellison and Dennis Rush, if you were there, it was Floyd running the sound system and the lights. Just so you know that. I was running the sound, which was great because what? You were there for part of Karen's too. Oh, that's true. For Karen Knott's show too. I also ended up running the sound system for part of it anyway. I wasn't there at the beginning, but I was there in the end. So if you were able to see Karen Knott's show on Thursday, or if you saw Neil Brower's Professor Brower's class on Saturday, then, I was running the system. So I got to do that. So which means I got to see some of their shows. I got to see all of Neil's and some of Karen's. So it was pretty great. Let's see. It was really good. Carolina Cody's saying it was a great discussion. It really was. Neil Brower's class is always great. And I'm sure, Lord willing, and we get the videos in the future, we'll have that entire conversation right here on Two Chairs No Waiting. Thanks to Neil and Pat Coleman. I really do appreciate them. Man, I need to give them some money for all the help and wonderful stuff that they've helped us do here on the podcast. I didn't sell popcorn. I didn't get to sell popcorn. Matter of fact, I didn't even get any popcorn. I kind of wanted some popcorn. All right. Well, we got a show to do tonight. So I kind of hate to, but we will talk more about Mayberry Days next week. I don't have all the photos. Jan took photos for most things. She was not able to take any photos during Colonel Tim because she was drafted as well. Miss Weaver was put to work. She was the door monitor of the backstage area for Colonel Tim's to try to keep people from coming in there. So Jan didn't get to take pictures of that. Jan's behind on orders. Only about we're caught up. We did about 40 some odd orders today, and we're about 130 something, maybe 40 orders that we still got to. About 150 to go. She keeps popping in here. We got about 150 orders to catch up on to get everything caught up in all this time we've been gone. And if you or anybody you had ordered, thank you so much for ordering from Weavers. I have my Weaver shirt. on, but we have been gone since early September. We were home for one day and then turned around and headed to North Carolina. So it has been very busy, and we thank you for being understanding for us getting your orders out a little bit slowly. But we're back, and so we'll get to work and try to get those popped out by the end of the week so everybody gets their DVD of Mayberry Man, which also went really well. I got so many things to report on I'm not going to be able to do tonight. That's the reason I'm kind of running through a little bit of it right here with you guys. The Mayberry Man premieres both in California. That was a lot of fun. Had a great time out there. And then we got to have the premiere as well, or the VIP showing, I guess, red carpet in Mount Airy. Also a lot of fun. Had a great time meeting and seeing everyone. Signed a lot of DVD covers and things over the weekend during Mayberry Days. I was not able to attend the meet and greets that they had for Mayberry Man in Mount Airy, except for the very first one from 10 to about 11:30. Maybe. I was at the one at Wally's on Thursday this past week. And then I had to go to work. I was kind of busy for Mayberry Days. Story Arts Council has me working with them, and my monitor just went to sleep. I thought I just lost everything. Oh my goodness. Woo, that was scary. You got to move the mouse every once in a while, Alan. There you go. All right, guys, let's get this show on the road. Tonight, we're actually going to be talking about Franklin Canyon, Myers Lake. Let's see what the name I decided on. I think I'm going to just call it Myers Lake is Franklin Canyon, and I'm going to put a new date on it, 2021, because that was an episode I did. It was the 13th episode of Two Chairs No Waiting. It was called Myers Lake, Franklin. That was in January of 2009. Oh, I'm so old. So I've done a couple of episodes since then, but we're going to go ahead and call that one the same thing and call it 2020. It's an update. It's the updated version of the podcast. So let me get this saved real quick. I was trying to get some of this done as we were coming on the air, because I didn't realize what time it was. I've been busy all day today, guys. It has been, I got back last night from Mount Airy, and then today we've been trying to get things working. Like, I have a Mayberry squad car. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I have a Mayberry squad car, and I was in the process of getting it ready because somebody wants me to have it in a car show this weekend. So I went out and had to get the squad car, make sure it would run and get everything going and everything. But I don't know if you guys even knew I have that. Let me show you. Here's a picture of it. My Mayberry squad car. This is Alan's car. It used to be Paul Mulick's car. If it'll change screens for me. Well, this is fun. This is going to be a long night if this starts. Oh, there it comes. There is my Mayberry squad car out in front of my house. Let's see. I'll show you some other pictures of it. So it's a 1963 Galaxie 500, which the car on the show was really a Galaxie, not a 500. So it wouldn't have had some of the chrome around the windows and things that you see in these pictures. But that's my baby. I got her running. She's cranked and running, and I washed her because, oh boy, she was dirty. The white part of the car has never been painted. That's the original paint, original color. And there she is, been washed and everything. So I think I've got some pictures before she got washed. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Look how dirty. I don't know if you can even tell. Look at that. Looks like, she had been sitting in a barn for a few years. Look at how dirty she was. Anyway, got her running and everything is good now, and we'll be able to take it to the car show this weekend, and I'm going to be Floyd there trying to promote the movie a little bit. But had a great time, and just had a wonderful time in Mayberry. So, hey, from Mayberry, Mount Airy, North Carolina. There we are. So, all right. I think we're ready to get going. Probably talked more than I should have, because we're, who knows what time we'll get out of here now, because I keep talking. Let me make sure everything is going to work. Whoa, what have I done here? Close that. I've got too many things open. Photo. There we go. All right. Oh, so one thing I couldn't find, you're going to hear me talking about tonight. There's a portion of the episode where I actually talk about Franklin Canyon and seeing Don Knotts, image of Don Knotts, where he was sitting beside a concrete barrier and you could see a walkover. I could not find that picture. The closest one I could get was this one, which you can see the concrete barrier there behind him. You see the preacher behind him back there as well, but you can't see, there's a walkover, and you'll see it in the video, but you can't see it in this photo. But this is as close as I could come, and I'm still looking for that original image that we're talking about. So if one of you guys have seen or know of that image, let me know, because I'd like to be able to find that so we can use it. One last thing just to show you, because I thought it was kind of funny. When we were on the way home from Mount Airy yesterday, and I posted it on Facebook, I think, but we ran across at Cracker Barrel what I believe could be Old Man Rimshaw's brother was there in the booth with us. So So there he is. Old man Rimshaw. There you go. All right, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get the show going. We're not going to talk about any more Mayberry Days tonight. It's all going to be about the Franklin Canyon Reservoir. So if you guys are ready, I guess I am. Let me check my music really quick because I didn't even open it. Man, see, I'm just out of sorts. It's been 2 weeks since I did that. His eyes did follow you. No matter where you moved around the room, Don, they just followed you around the room. It was just weird. Yeah, and I don't know. I just stepped in a closet or something. If somebody hadn't pushed me out, I don't know if I could have got back into the Cracker Barrel main area. I went back there heading towards the bathroom. Next thing I knew, I was in some kind of closet, and somebody gave me a push and got me out. Thank goodness. But it all turned out okay. All right, guys. I got to cover you guys up or I'll talk to you all night. Let's get this show rolling. We'll see you guys on the other side of this. Let me say who all's here. Let me tell everybody hi before I start. Again, for you guys that are for your first time here, this is the live version of Two Chairs No Waiting. And you're invited to come over here into this chat room where you see 46 people. I may not be able to read everybody's name. That's a lot of people. Let's run through these real quick. See Kentucky Mike, Carolina Cody, Lydia, Anthony, Carrie Brown, Miss Mayberry, Sarah Blaine, Don Good, Plain Claude Beeman. Oh, Plain Claude Beeman. Mr. McBeebe, Matt Copeland, Mona, and Wason Cooper, Nipper of the Bud, Sam Jones. It's real. He's here with us. Henry Bennett is here. It's Therapeutic, Indiana Steve, Leonard Blush, and Miss Ellie. Jim Sherrill, our trivia champion. Let's see. Ernest T. Bass, JL327, Emmett Clark, Donna Fay, JPJ, Kathy Hinckley, Carp Gigger, Dennis, Asa Blaine is here. Goober Fife, wouldn't you know, Don is here. Richard, I see Chris Gome from the movie, Chris Gomer Pyle himself. Little Fat Mayor Clanton is here. Hey, Clanton. Milo Boys, Dan and Rand, they're here. Briscoe's here. Sharon's here, Sharon Vincent. Blake K, Oklahoma, OK Tim is here. The It's Real guy's in here twice, evidently. Let's see, Ernest T. Bass, and I think that's about it. There's probably some more anonymous folks in here as well. But let's just get this show going. Now, this is definitely an episode that people would want to watch the video for. Just so you know, this is going to be a video preference on this episode because you're going to be able to see things that you might not have been able to see. All right, guys, let's get this thing rolling. See you guys on the backside. Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 652. Good grief. This is going to be about Myers Lake Revisited, guys. We're going back to it again. And I think I'm going to start this one over because this is terrible. Man, you leave for a week and what do you get? Heartaches. Nothing but heartaches. Let's pause this thing and start it over. So all you guys in the live show, you get to see the mistake. Man, I hadn't done that in a while. You know what? You know why I did? Because I told you what I was going to name it, and then I didn't name it. I pulled up the name of the episode, and it wasn't there. There it is, 2021. Because I knew I couldn't remember the name of it. All right, let's try this one again. This is not a good omen. It's not a good omen for the first of the episode. So again, folks, if you would like to be a part of the podcast, this is where you come. You come over here to live.twochairsnowaiting.com and you can be a part of it. Let's try it again. Take two. Everybody back to one. Everybody back to one. All right, here we go. lost my video. Here it is. Goodness. All right. Now we're ready. All right. Here we go. Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 652. Myers Lake is Franklin Canyon Reservoir 2021. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you the folks over at Weavers DepartmentStore.com. Drop by over at Weavers, all kinds of new stuff there. Mayberry Man movie, the DVD is available. There's posters, there's postcards, there's hats, there's shirts. Go and check them out. Don't forget while you're there to check out the Mayberry Effect DVD. That's right, a second movie about Mayberry. Pick them both up and have a double feature at your house. And there's more. Karen Knotts has a book called Tied Up in Knots, Me and My Dad. Check it out. There's a Mayberry puzzle book. There's a 2022 Andy Griffith Show wall calendar, and I have talked all the way through the opening credits, and here we are. Head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com and check it out. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by the donations of folks just like you. Man, there's so much good stuff over at Weavers, and Christmas is coming. Head over there and check it out, guys. I can't even tell you all the new stuff that's there, but go and pick up something. I know you'll love it. Friends, it is so good to be in Mayberry with you this week. For the last couple of weeks, I had to pre-record the episodes because I was traveling all over the place because of the Mayberry Man movie. I got to go to Indiana. I got to go to California. I got to go to North Carolina. Of course, that was part of Mayberry Days. I'd have been there anyway, but I got to go early and do a little bit of Mayberry Man movie stuff. So it's great stuff. I will be telling you about some of that stuff later on future episodes of the podcast. But this episode, I wanted to focus on Myers Lake. Myers Lake is Franklin Canyon Reservoir. It's actually the upper Franklin Canyon Reservoir. Now, while I was in California for Mayberry Man, I took time off to go and visit and see things that I'd never seen or revisit places I'd been to before. I had been to Franklin Canyon, and Franklin Canyon is an absolutely amazing place. If you've not been there, this is a place for fans of the Andy Griffith Show. You would want to go there. I've done 3 podcasts about this in the past. I did episode number 13. That was all the way back in 2009, January of 2009, about Myers Lake is Franklin Canyon Reservoir. That's the reason I named this episode the same name, but I put 2021 at the end because I'm going to do a little bit of an update, try to give you more information to make sure you can get to this great place. It's one of the only places really where the Andy Griffith Show is actually filmed. That you can still visit. It's definitely something you're going to want to visit. So, but I did an episode back in 2011 called Return to Myers Lake. It's episode number 126 of Two Chairs No Waiting. And then back in 2016, I did one called Myers Lake Revisited. So I've tried to do these when I can. Now, I've been to California only 3 times and got to go to Franklin Canyon. Those were in 2001 and 2004. Those are the other times I'd been there. So this was I got to go just recently in September of 2021 and was able to visit once again. Now, what we're going to do today, whenever you're listening to this, it's going to be video. There's going to be a lot of video. So guys, I want to encourage you, if you're one of my audio listeners, to go and check out the video version on YouTube of this particular podcast, this episode number 652, because I'm going to show you in this video that we're about to watch how to get to Franklin Canyon. That's right. You're not only going to be given directions, because the directions are going to be in the show notes. There's a lot of information I've got for you about this, but if you ever think you might be able to go there, this will help you find it. It's not hard to find, but people have a hard time finding it. So with these good directions, I think you won't have any trouble. So we're going to head into this. Now, the first thing I did here was shoot some video in the car as we were driving into Franklin Canyon. Now, I came in from the upper side, so it's from the some up off of the Coldwater Canyon Drive area. So that's where I came in from. And so you come in and it looks like you're going into a residential area when you do that. And then you finally get into an area where actually you can see the park, because it's called Franklin Canyon Park, I believe, Franklin Canyon Reservoir. It's the Upper Franklin Canyon Reservoir. And so I really encourage you to go and watch this video, and you'll be able to see what we're doing. And then I'm going to show you around as well there in the park. So when you first come in, it's a one-way street going around the park. You can only go one way. It's counterclockwise going around the lake, the upper reservoir. And there's a parking area as you start to go around the west side of Franklin Canyon. There's a parking area. The first one you come to on the left is the one that you want to park in if you can. But if you can't, there's one just a little further down on the right, and just a little bit further down on the left, there's a third one. So you want to park in one of those three, and I'm going to tell you more about it as we throw myself back in time to California. Hey guys, here we are in Franklin Canyon. This is Upper Franklin Canyon Reservoir. And this is where Andy and Opie walked at the beginning of the episodes, right? At the beginning of every episode, the opening credits, this is where they were. This is also where Andy brought the state policeman, and we're looking down the hill. It's kind of behind me here. It said, if you'll just take your men down this trail right here, he'll swim right to you. Well, this is the area where this happened right here. So you can see, let me pull back a little more. You can see this wooden railing all down through here. That wooden railing is the railing that Andy was standing with his foot up on it. And this is the spot. And this is also the spot in the Return to Mayberry when Andy was driving into town at the very beginning of the movie, and he stopped and was actually looking over the edge. So this is it. So yeah, this was the area where Andy was looking down through here, and back then the reservoir would have been a lot higher, and you'd be able to see all the way up. And this is where he was standing here with his foot up on this railing, telling them that if he took his men down there, they'd swim right up to you. So this is the area. So when you first come in, if you come in from the Mulholland Drive area, you'll come in this way. There's Jan. When you come into the Franklin Canyon Reservoir, the Upper Franklin Canyon Reservoir, you'll come into this area, and this is where, like I said, where Andy stopped when he was in the Return to Mayberry. And where you would want to stop to be able to see where Andy and Opie walked is at the very first parking spot. Is a one-way route around the Franklin Canyon Reservoir, the Upper Franklin Canyon Reservoir. And there's a parking spot just as you get past these wooden railings. There's a parking spot right over here. And that's where you would want to stop to be able to look down and see where Andy and Opie walked, because down there through those trees is where it was. And I'll show you that in just a second. But that's where it was. And this is where you would stop if you're able. I wasn't able to. There were cars parked here, too many. I couldn't park in this area. But again, it's one way, and I'm walking in the right direction for the one-way street. And then when you park here, you come around the corner, you park, and there's this walkways and stuff. But let me show you. So this is where Andy and Opie walked when the opening credits happened for the Andy Griffith Show, right here. Come down, slide over this way, that gap right there, and it goes on up. There's a trail that goes on up through there. That's it. That's the location. And there's a walkway, as you can see, where you can get over here to it. There's a concrete ditch, I guess, that's around here. And you can head around that direction to go down to the area where Andy and Opie walked. And that's where it is down there. Now, the reservoir is no longer over here to my right, as you're looking down there past that picnic table. It's not there anymore. The reservoir is here, but the water level is much lower. So let's walk down there And look where Andy and Opie walked. So actually this is the area where Andy and Opie would have been stopping and throwing the rock. And I'm going to stand basically where the camera was in the pictures. And here is what you would actually see. Now remember, it's been 61 years. But this is the same area at the upper Franklin Canyon Reservoir where Andy and Opie came walking around that corner right there, around that curve, and walked over. Opie grabbed his rock and threw it into the water. Now, there is no water, as I said on a previous video. There is no water anymore. It's just cattails and grown up here. The water is still here. It's just further to the right. There's still the reservoir, but it's an earthen dam reservoir, so they don't allow the water to get as high. And as I was showing earlier, hopefully that's on this same video, up there is where Andy would have been standing with his foot on the railing, looking down that hill, saying, if you just take your man down that right there, he'll swim right to you. That's the area. So over here is where Andy and Opie, this is where the cameramen were set up, if you've ever seen that picture. Hopefully I'll have that picture for you. And they came from this direction. So I thought it might be kind of neat to see, this is what Andy and Opie would have seen walking down the trail. There'd been a camera crew right there in front of us. And they came over to this point somewhere right in here. Opie ran and grabbed the rock, and he ran over here and threw it in the water. So that's kind of their view of this area. But of course for us, the thing we always see is this shot, almost to the right spot. Basically right here. Watching Andy and Opie come down this trail and throw the rock in the water. Andy watching. And then of course at the end of the episode, if you've seen those, they're walking back. But not, I don't think on this same trail. So we're back up on the top area up here where you can look down and see the area where Andy and Opie, where the filming was, down that way. So we're back up on the top. And again, this is the first parking area on the west side of the upper Franklin Reservoir, okay? So if you pull into it, you'll be able to walk down there. If you miss it, there's another one over on the right, and then there's one further down on the left. Okay, so you can always walk back up this way. So from the first parking lot, as I said, there's a parking lot on the right up here where you could also park. It's right over here. And then there's one down here on the left where you can park as well. As far as I know, there was nothing from the Andy Griffith Show that was filmed in these two areas. I'm just showing you, so in case you miss it, if you're here and you drive too far, you'll be okay. You can still get back. Now, on around the road here, as you keep going, it's a one-way street, so you got to go one way around. There is the game warden's house, office. It's on around the curve down there. So as we go on around, it's down that way. And where Floyd and Howard and those guys were when they were fishing for Old Sam is just around on the other side of Franklin Canyon Reservoir. So this is in the second parking lot, as I was saying, that's on the left. That's on the west side of Franklin Canyon Reservoir. And as you can see here, there's still water in Franklin Canyon Reservoir. It's just not as high as it once was. So you can't see it where Andy and Opie were, but you can see it. There is still a lot of water. It's still there, so you won't be disappointed that there's no water. Okay, and over on this side, on the other side of the lake or the reservoir, is where you would find that Howard and Floyd and all those guys when they were trying to catch Old Sam. It's a little further to the right down there, but it's on that side. And we believe on that side as well is where they filmed the Darlings when Ernest T was trying to kidnap Charlene at the mountain wedding. It was on that side as well. So this is again, the game warden's house, his office, where Andy and Helen were arrested. And then that's right as you get to the edge of the upper reservoir where the dam is. So here's the dam area. So over here is, and over that way, on that side, that's where Howard and Floyd and the guys were fishing for Old Sam. That's where it was. All right, so that's where it was. So it was across this dam. So if you come and you're looking, that's where you'll find Howard and Floyd is over on that side. Not the same side that Opie and Andy walked on. And then the game warden's cabin is here. So you're going to be able to see a lot of things that were from the Andy Griffith Show. Mr. McBeevy, all those things are on that side, over there, when Mr. McBeevy was up on the telephone pole. Okay, so now we're on the east side of the Franklin Canyon Reservoir, where I was indicating that Floyd and Howard and the guys would have been fishing. And it's just down this hill, I believe. I believe that's the correct location, is down here. Over this, there is a concrete barrier that protects it. But down in that area, down that direction, and we'll go down there and look. But I believe that's where Howard and Floyd and the guys were when they were fishing for Old Sam. I think that's where it was. So I'm going to jump the wall. If I don't fall backwards. There we go. So down here, Floyd, Howard, and the guys. Back then, it was grass. There was a lot more grass. The water was probably a little higher. It was obviously higher than it is now. So probably up in this area is where they were actually, were. Maybe even over that way, some further. But here you can see the Franklin Canyon Reservoir, and if you look, there's the dam in the background. So it was somewhere down in this area where the guys were fishing, and Howard was splashing around in the water, and Floyd was complaining that he's scaring everything away. So this is where we would have been, somewhere up in here, because the water again is lower than it was then. So it was probably up in this area where the dirt is. And it could be a little bit further north of this position, but basically I'm giving you the best I can, because you see there's just a bunch of bushes and things here as we go forward. And again, the water's a lot lower than it was. So this is probably the area where they were. As you travel around the Franklin Canyon Reservoir, the upper reservoir, on the east side, you might notice this particular area right here. If you look, you see where the wooden railing ends and the concrete begins. That's where Mr. McBeevy was when he was up on the telephone pole. Obviously the pole's been replaced, but that is the location. And on the episode, he came down from the pole, got in his truck, and drove off what would now be the wrong way around Franklin Canyon Reservoir. Now, another thing in this same area, it'll be really easy to spot this because there is a concrete barrier toward the reservoir, and there is a walkover here. So this area, there's some photos that you can see this walkover, and Don Knotts was sitting here in his wedding dress from Mountain Wedding getting makeup. So it is somewhere in this exact area where Ernest T came running up to try to steal Charlene from Dud at the wedding. We've never been able to figure out exactly where because it's been so long. We don't know where the trees were. Probably wasn't where I'm showing you, but it was in this general area because Don had on the wedding dress. You can see in the photo this concrete barrier, and you can see that walkover that's over here. There's Mrs. Weaver. But this walkover can also be seen in that same photo. So we know it was somewhere in this general vicinity. I guess it actually could have been over on this side of the road. It could have been they were filming over there. I've never really tried to look. So there's Mr. McBeevy's pole. There is a good possibility that they could have filmed Barney in the mountain wedding over on this side of the road. It could have been over here because there are more woods in this area, more trees. It's a possibility that it was somewhere over here. But we know it was in this general vicinity because we definitely saw Don sitting on the other side of the road there with his wedding dress on, getting makeup. Over there. On that side. All right, guys, that is a tour around Myers Lake, Franklin Canyon. And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you were able to watch the video version and just see the sights there around the canyon. It's just a very, very surreal place to go, especially the very first time you go there and you realize, oh, this is exactly where the camera was standing. Because it was standing. It was a big camera. It wasn't like it is now where you just have a small camera and somebody's holding it. This was a large camera that they had set up, a fairly large camera. And it was, anyway, it's just a very neat place to go there. I still haven't figured out exactly where that mountain wedding stuff happened. Probably never will be able to because the trees that were around are gone. And you know, they've grown. I mean, it's 60 plus years ago that this stuff happened, 60 years ago. So these trees have probably not made it quite that long. So just I don't know if I ever said it in the video. I can't remember, but the reason the water level is lower at Franklin Canyon Reservoir, it's the upper. There are two Franklin Canyon reservoirs. There's the upper, which is where we were, and there's a lower one. But the upper canyon reservoir has a earthen dam. So it's made out of dirt, basically. So the reason the water level is lower is they lowered the water level to reduce the stress on that earthen dam, to reduce the chances that it could break. You know, it is California. There are earthquakes. You don't really want a dam with a whole bunch of water holding it back at the top of a canyon and it breaking. That water would just, you know, you've seen video of things like that before. So that's the reason the water levels have been reduced. But it's a really great place to go. If you ever get a chance to go, I have information on the website. So there'll be links in the show notes for this episode. You can go and check out. There's also over at Mayberry.info. If you search for Myers Lake, it tells you all about it. Andy and Opie, what they, you know, them walking around there, where it's located. I should give you just a little bit of information that's here, because it talks about when you go into the area coming in from the west side, you're heading north on Beverly Drive and following the signs to Coldwater Canyon, and then you turn up on a Coldwater and Beverly Drive. So you're heading up the road there. And then you turn left again on Beverly Drive at Fire Station number 2. And then there's a third right is Franklin Canyon Drive, and you continue into this residential area to the park entrance. Well, I don't know that I have gone in that direction. The one I've always gone in is coming in from the San Bernardino Valley, the Ventura Highway. That's our freeway. That's 101. Coming in from Ventura Boulevard, that direction. You're going up Coldwater Canyon Boulevard. You're going south, so you're going back into LA, going that direction. And anyway, you get to the intersection of Coldwater Canyon, Mulholland Drive. It's a 90-degree right turn onto Franklin Canyon Drive. And there's no street sign that says Franklin Canyon Drive. You go straight into this, and it looks like you're going into a residential area. A matter of fact, there's not a street sign. There's actually a sign that says, the sign actually says road closed 800 feet. That's what it says. But it's not. It says it is, but it's not. It says road closed 800 feet, sunset to sunrise. So basically at night and they close it. That's the park entrance. So you go down and you're not going into the residential area. It looks like you are, and you go. I would have thought I was driving through a kind of a back alley type area because there's people parked there. Their cars. That's where they park and their driveways are. But you go through this little. It's almost a 1-lane road because we met a UPS truck coming out of there and he was not going slow, and we we took evasive actions, both of us. But if you go in there, just be careful, go slow, definitely go slow, and go on through there, and you'll be able to go into the Franklin Canyon Reservoir area at the Snooky Goodman Nature Center is what it actually is. And it's really pretty area. It's pretty. It looks like you're in North Carolina or some alpine forest because the trees are they look like you saw on the Andy Griffith Show. That's what they look like. So anyway, the information is on iMayberry, or not. It'll be on mayberry.info, not imayberry.com. But mayberry.info, we have information about that and telling you how to get into the park. There's a loop. There's links on there that'll explain about how to walk around and see where everything is, and links to my podcast as well that are all located there. So that's probably more information than you wanted, but that's it. So now you will be able to find Franklin Canyon Reservoir and walk where Andy and Opie walked. You can watch this video, pull it up on YouTube, pull it up on our Two Chairs No Waiting website. You'll be able to watch it. It'll be episode number 652. You'll be able to find that. And you can find this area yourself if you're ever in California. If you're ever out in the LA area, it's kind of in the Hollywood Hills area. And in coming weeks, I'll give you some other ideas of a few things you might want to do while you're out there, like maybe visit the Batcave where Adam West drove the Batmobile out of the Batcave. I'm sure it probably wasn't him, but we're on his show. We went there. We went several places while we were out there. So a great trip for us this time, and I hope you guys got something out of that. So we're not going to do any trivia this week. Sorry, I hear the moans. Because we're running pretty long, and I want to get in Randy Turner's report. This is actually a repeat report. Randy, I gave him several weeks off here because I've been traveling and wasn't able to do it. But I've actually been enjoying hearing some of his reports from previous years. And so we're going to hear another this week in Mayberry history.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by special correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Cooper Pyle Comic Book Literary Guild of the Mayberry Historical Society.
Elvia Allman only appeared once in Mayberry, but if she doesn't hold the record for playing the most recurring characters, she has to be in the running, having done so a dozen times. Elvia was born on September the 19th, 1904, in southern North Carolina, in Enochville, a small town near Charlotte. She first began working in radio at the age of only 21 at KHJ in Los Angeles as a program arranger. She also performed reading children's stories and later as a singer. Her first nationally broadcast appearance was in a pre-recorded program played one New Year's Eve, leading up to midnight in the beginning of the 1930s. But she became best known at the time for her comedic work, as characters as varied as a beauty expert, a high society matron, and a home economist named Pansy Pennypincher in the San Francisco program Blue Monday Jamboree. She also recorded her first voice work for animation, voicing the role of Clarabelle Cow in early versions of the character for Disney Studios. Many sources credit her with having originated the voice of Clarabelle in the first appearance of the character in 1928. She voiced the lead character in Little Red Walking Hood, and also sometimes still did work for Disney. After a short marriage, Elvia relocated to New York City in 1933 and continued her radio career. She initially sang on a syndicated 15-minute program called Crazy Quilt. She also continued to work in animation, now working with producer Leon Schlesinger's cartoons released through Warner Brothers, debuting in the Porky Pig cartoon Porky's Moving Day. At the same time, she remained busy in radio, appearing in various programs, including with Howard McNear in a juvenile series titled The Cinnamon Bear, which was designed to be aired 6 days a week between Thanksgiving and Christmas. She also played Cora Dithers, the wife of Dagwood Bumstead's boss in Blondie, based on the popular comic strip. In 1940, Elvia made her film debut as a homely girl infatuated with Bob Hope's character in Road to Singapore, the first of Hope and Bing Crosby's road pictures. That role, and most others, was uncredited, but a notable film role was as Edwina Kelp, the mother of Jerry Lewis's character Julius Kelp, and the wife of Elmer Kelp, played by Howard Morris in the classic The Nutty Professor. Elvia was a busy character actress in television. In Mayberry, she was Henrietta Swanson, who brought her daughter Darlene to the Taylor home in the evening to borrow some sugar in an attempt to influence Andy, who was judging the Founders Day Beauty Contest. Elvia had more than 100 roles in film and television. In I Love Lucy, she was the foreman of the candy conveyor belt in the classic episode Job Switching. Elvia may be best remembered as two similar characters, Busybody's Alverna Bradshaw, who she played 13 times in the Beverly Hillbillies, and Selma Plout in Petticoat Junction, which she played 17 times. But Elvia played recurring characters in a large number of his series in addition to these two most popular ones. She was also Aunt Vera in I Married Joan, Mrs. Crumbcake in The Abbott and Costello Show, Jane in The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show, Mrs. Chalmers in Where's Raymond, and reprised her radio role of Cora Dithers in the TV version of Blondie. She was also Sarah Selnick in December Bride, Dr. Hilda Larson in The People's Choice, Mrs. Montague in The Bob Cummings Show, Mrs. Fernstrom in the TV version of Herbie the Love Bug, and Lillian in the sitcom Alice. Elvia's final acting credit was a fitting bookend to how she started her film career. She reprised her role as Clarabelle Cow in the 1980 Disney animated short The Prince and the Pauper. Elvia passed away in 1992 at the age of 87. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening, and remember to take Andy's advice and go out there and act like somebody.
Thank you, Randy. Randy gives us such great information. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on what Randy's doing online, send him an email at turnersgrade@gmail.com, turnersgrade@gmail.com, and he'll make sure you don't miss out on any of the Mayberry fun. It's great stuff. And the reports for the last 3 weeks have been reruns from 2018, but I've enjoyed them because he gives so much information. I can't even remember all this stuff. I don't know if you guys can or not. So thank you. The folks in the chat room have been talking about an award that Jan and I got at Mayberry Days. We'll be talking about Mayberry Days coming up, but I just wanted to brag on Jan because she got an award. She and I did from our Mayberry family, and this is very nice. They called it the Leaders of the Pack. That was very nice of them. Presented at the Rerun Watchers Club meeting. Jan, this is the first time I've got to hold it because Jan's had it the whole time. She's finally let me hold it. But it's got a picture of us on there. Very nice, and it means a lot. Really do appreciate it. To everybody that had anything to do with that, thank you so much. We have been very blessed to be a part of this Mayberry family, and I hope you have enjoyed as much as I had all the fun stuff that we've been able to do over the years. Mayberry Days is an amazing event, and without yet none of the other things I've done, being Floyd and being in a movie and just all these other things would have never happened. And even worse, I would have never met many of you. Many of you came up to me during Mayberry Days and said you listened to the podcast, and I really appreciate that. I was unable to keep up with how many people told me, because there were a great number. And so thank you for listening. Thank you for just supporting what I do here with Two Chairs and with all the different websites and Weavers. We do appreciate it so much and are very thankful for you as friends. So thank you. I really do appreciate you. So, folks, that is it for me this week. I hope you have enjoyed the podcast. It's a little bit long, and it did require to actually watch it rather than just listen to it this week. But I think it was probably worth it. But I'd love to hear what you thought about it. And I would really love to hear what you thought about Mayberry Days. If you were at Mayberry Days and attended this year, please call in at 888-684-8415 and give us a report, because I want to be doing a report in the next week or so about Mayberry Days 2021. And I think it would be really fun to hear other people's perspective, because Floyd has a perspective, but I would love to hear what you saw, because I'm a fan. I love the Andy Griffith Show, but I don't get to be on your side often and see the things happening all over town because they've got me working. So I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call, 888-684-8415, and we'll talk to you guys next week on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody. All right, we're clear. We're clear. Chat room, there you are. Hey, I really do hope you guys really enjoyed that. And, Candace, thanks for showing up, and first time live. So it's good to have you here with us. This is, like I said, we do the live show. Oh, it's already 8:00. My goodness, I ran too long. I knew it. I was talking too much at the start. That's what happened. So yeah, there was a lot of really nice things happen. That was very nice. Jim Clark presented us that award. It actually, I don't know if you could read it, but it says presented. It's pretty cool. It's actually the picture of Jan and I outside the Andy Griffith Playhouse is engraved on there. You see that? That is kind of cool. I don't know how they do that. That's kind of cool. But it was presented at the Rerun Watchers Club. It says presented to Alan and Jan Newsom, the leaders of the pack from your Mayberry family, September 2021. Anyway, that's very nice. And it is in Weavers. It will be in Weavers department store right over there. So, but it was very nice. And I really do appreciate it from anybody and all of you. I do appreciate you. Jan puts up with an awful lot, with like I said, with a husband who dresses up like Floyd the Barber and goes around and does stuff. This was our 28th year we haven't missed Mayberry Days since 1993, and I've been doing Floyd since 1994 at every Mayberry Days, and we've been running Weavers. I mean, it's definitely a labor of love. We do enjoy it, and we enjoy getting to meet all of you folks, and I'm very thankful. And again, without Mayberry Days and without doing Floyd and all these things, I'd have never met so many of you. I see Danny and Randy in the chat room there. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I wouldn't have met them. I would have never met them. I wouldn't have met Goober Fife. I could name every one of you. I would have never met you. Everybody in this room, the chat room, I would have never met you. And how much less good would my life have been had that not occurred? I mean, really. And I hopefully each of you have that same story. That the Andy Griffith Show, even though it's just a show, that's all it is. It's a TV show. I know that. We all know that. But look at the impact it's had on our lives. We've met each other. We've become friends over the time that we've known each other, even though we're here. Yep. And we owe a lot of it to Jim Clark, because if it wasn't for the Rerun Watchers Club, there would have never been a Mayberry Days. Because Jim's the one that reached out to Surrey Arts Council and said, hey, the anniversary of the Andy Griffith Show is coming up. Maybe you could have a Mayberry Day, which they did, one day. And then now it's a week now. Oh, I got to tell you guys, I got to meet T. Graham Brown at Mayberry Days, and man, he is awesome. And I mean, singing and everything. Okay, he's a singer, country singer. I think you guys probably know who he is, but it was what was so awesome. I actually told him at one point. I said, "Look, I know you're famous." And he said, "Oh, I'm not famous. I'm not famous." I said, "Okay, but you're famous." Is what I said. I said, "But I don't care. You're a Mayberry guy." Because good grief, I've got to study up on my quotes and my lines, because man, he knew the lines from the show. Oh my goodness, he was able. Jan, I'm sorry I'm keeping you guys. Feel free to leave if you need to leave. But we were standing at the Earl, and his show was going to start at 7, I think, and I was there to introduce it, and he came out there in the lobby and saw me, and he just started doing lines back and forth. I'd already met him the night before at the golf tournament, and then he came down and he's just throwing lines, and I'm going back with lines and stuff. And Jan's like, after it was over, Jan said, "Man, I wanted to just get my phone out and just video you guys, because you guys went on for 10 minutes just doing quotes back and forth at each other." Anyway, what a great time it had. Hopefully we'll get to see him again. He's actually coming to Huntsville. I think the 12th, I think is what I found, here pretty soon of October. So maybe we can meet up with him and say hi and things. I hope. So man, he was such a Mayberry fan. He's wired up, Floyd. Yep. He was just such a nice guy. Gosh. I really enjoyed getting to meet him, meeting all the cast members. Dennis Rush is a great guy. Joy Ellison, Margaret Carey, Clint Howard. Oh my goodness. He is awesome as well. Always speaks so eloquently, expressing what the Andy Griffith Show means. It's just, man, it was so good. So guys, I don't want to keep you, but because I could just sit here and just keep talking about this. We will go through some of this stuff in the coming weeks here on the podcast. And do it. No, that's his jacket. Yeah. And I've got one hanging right there. I don't know if you knew that. I have those jackets. The T. Graham Brown had on a Mayberry Union High Letterman's jacket, and those were made back in the 90s. So it's great. So Rick Roberts was at Mayberry Days for just a couple of days. I just wish you could have absorbed it all, Rick. See him there in the chat room. He had to leave. He couldn't stick around, but I just wish he could have seen more. I know he made it through Karen Knight's show and then had to head out, but man, what a great weekend it was there. And we're going to get to see Rick a couple of weeks. I don't know if Rick's still able, or to tell us, but I'm looking it up, but we're going to be up in Lebanon. I'm going to do my very best. And I got complete plans to be in Lebanon, Tennessee with him. He's going to be there doing one of the Mayberry Man premieres in Lebanon. Let me see. That's going to be on the 23rd of October. That I'm going to try to go up there and just be there too. Because I got to tell you, I would have never met Rick. There's another one. I mean, there's just so many people I've been able to meet, and I'm not meaning to leave anybody out. No, I'm just naming names. I've met everybody in the chat room. I've met almost all of you. And I would have never met you. I'd have never met you. I can't imagine how much more rich my life is because of a show. Are you kidding? So I just thank the good Lord that this has happened, and there's a reason. That it's all happened. Now, by the way, check out Rick. He's going to be on Huckabee. If you can get Huckabee in your area, he's going to be on Huckabee is it on the Friday night or Saturday, Rick? 8th or the 9th? I don't remember which night actually Huckabee comes on, but that week, Friday, Saturday, that week, he's going to be on Huckabee talking about the Mayberry Man movie. So which one? The Friday night. Jen quickly told me. The 9th and 10th. Okay, good. So he's going to be on Huckabee. So definitely check that. What? Oh, it's when I'll be in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I've got to go to Pennsylvania that weekend. I was planning to go watch Rick there. So again, I'm sorry I'm keeping you guys over. It's 10 minutes over. But I'm just still excited about everything. Things are going. It's so fun, and I've had such a good time. And I'm trying to not get depressed about having to go to work tomorrow. It records on Friday and airs on the weekend. Okay, good. So on the 9th and the 10th of October, be watching for Huckabee. Check out Huckabee. Check your channels there. And Rick's going to be on there talking about Mayberry Man. That's awesome. So if we can just get enough going, maybe he'll have us back on there. We can be on there together. Rick tried to get me in there, but he was unable to. Plus, then I ended up having to try to help Stark and Court out to be up in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be there. If you're in the Hamburg, Pennsylvania area, if any of you guys are in that area, I'm going to be there on the 9th of October, going up there as well. So it's great, man. So, all right. I don't need to keep everybody. Thanks for being here with me. It's always so much fun. I really am blessed to know everybody, know you guys, and to just have you come and show up here on the podcast. I really appreciate it. You keep me going at 652 episodes. You're keeping me going, or I would have quit long ago. So thank you very much, guys. And I would love to hear from you. Like I say every week, you're the ones that keep me going. So give me a call at 888-6485. That isn't right. 888-684-84. See, if you think about it, you can't say it. That's what happens. 888-684-8415. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you, especially if you're at Mayberry Days. Give us a report. If you've seen Mayberry Man, I would like to hear that too. Give us a real report about what you think about the movie. And if you think it's really terrible, I just won't play that one. But I'd still like to hear it. Guys, y'all have a great Mayberry week, and we'll see you next time right here on Two Chairs. Good night, guys.